Hey, what's up, guys? Mr. Cruz. As you guys can tell, I'm not there today, but you have the notes, and so you guys are going to be watching this video to follow along with the notes involving discounts. So we've already gone over tax. Actually, we went over tax and tip, right? And the whole thing with tax and tip is that like you're finding the percentage, and then you're having to either add, like if you're not just finding like, hey, how much was the tax, just the tax alone. If you're trying to find out like, hey, how much did they pay with tax or how much did they pay with the tip, you're having to do adding in order to solve for the answer. So in this case, with discount, we're doing the opposite. So if it comes to a point where it's like, hey, how much did they pay, including the discount, we're going to be subtracting. But we'll get to that here. So with discount, I kind of think of it as like, like when you diss somebody, right? Like you're putting them down, or like you're making them feel small. So like you're taking away. But with some of these word problems that we're going to be going over, there are some words that'll let us know whether it's a one-step or a two-step problem. And again, one step is just I'm multiplying to find out how much the discount is. A two-step would be I'm multiplying to find out what the discount is, and then I'm subtracting that from the total price. And so here are some of the words that we might come across. If it just asks, pretty much what we see over here is if it's only asking for the discount or how much they're going to save or how much money they'll have off, those are going to be a reference, right? It's going to be a red flag to let you know, not say a red flag, a green flag. That's going to be an indication. That's what it's going to be, an indication that you're only having to find out what the percentage is. Over here, when we see the words like sale price, or new price, or discounted price, or how much they're going to pay, or what was the cost, or how much does it says on the register, how much do they pay after they, like when they leave and whatnot. Those things are going to be indications that we're going to have to also subtract after we multiply. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. And I've got my calculator. I've got a handheld calculator here in front of me to be able to do some of these. But let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so the problem here is a case of glue sticks is $12.75. It went on sale for 15% during spring break. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle the dollar amount, and I'm circling the percentage, right? So $12.75, but it's on sale for 15% off. What is the discount? All right, so in order to solve this, here's what I would do. I got to make sure that I'm identifying the things that I had just mentioned: the amount, the dollar amount, the percent off, and what is the question asking me to solve for. In this case, it's asking me to solve for just the discount, right? It's not asking for the sale price. It's not saying how much did I pay, just the discount. All right. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to turn this percent into a decimal, right? This is the same thing that we did when we were going over tax and tip. We got to turn the percent into a decimal so that way we can calculate it, so that we can put it in our calculator and solve for it appropriately. All right. So 15% is going to turn into 0.5. Y'all remember from when we did fractions, decimals, and percents. How do we turn a percent into a decimal? You got to do the booty bump. So you just bump that decimal over 2 times. Bam. Oh, that looks terrible. Jeez. So look for where the decimal is or where the decimal would be, and then do the booty bump, and then you can turn it into a percent. Or sorry, a fraction or decimal. All right. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to multiply our dollar amount with how much the percent is. And again, that's the reason why we turn our percent into a decimal, so that we can punch it into our calculator. And then once I do that, I end up with 1.9125. But we're talking about money, right? I can't give somebody this much money to these many decimal places. I can't. The closest one that I can do it is to the 10th place in our decimal, which would be to the 1. So what I got to do is find out if I need to round up or if it stays the same, right? If you guys remember, some of your teachers last year told you 5 or more, raise the score, 4 or less, let it rest. In this case, if I'm trying to see if I need to bump 1 up to 2 or if it's just going to stay 1, I need to look to the number that's next to it, which is 2. So 2 is 4 or less, so it's going to stay the same. So in reality, I have just $1.91, right? That's what the discount is. In this case, I'm completely done because the problem was only asking me what was the discount, how much was the discount. In this case, we found out that it's $1.91. When we solve these problems, we have to keep in mind that we're talking about money. So when we talk about money, you got to be mindful of the amount of decimal places that we have in our American economic system for talking about money, right? So we can only go to the tens place. All right, let's go on to the next one. It says this one says a box of 500 pencils is priced at $35 at Office Max. Mrs. Kelly and Mrs. Meganson are excited because in 20 days they will go on sale for 75% off. What will the sale price be? So in this one, I can identify a few things here, right? $35, the amount that the box of pencils is going to cost, then 75% off, right? The amount of the discount, and then it's also asking for the sale price. So in this case, we have a two-step problem where we're going to have to multiply, but then we have to do subtraction after multiplication. And again, we also have our mini step of turning our 75% off into, or 75% into a decimal. So first we're going to do that, and remember, do the booty bump. So that's going to turn 75% into 0.75. Next is our first step, which is we're going to be multiplying. So we're going to multiply $35 with 0.75, right? With our 75, quote unquote, 75%. When I put that into my calculator, I end up with 26.25. Now, step two, we have to subtract that, but we have to subtract that from the original amount because it's asking us for the sale price. So this means, so we're not just done yet. So I'm going to take 35, right? Because the amount of the original box of pencils was $35. So I'm going to take 35 and I'm going to subtract it from what we found out is 75% off. Geez, I'm lacking with my circling skills today. So in our calculator, once we do that, we will find out what the sale price would be. And once you find that out, you will realize that it's $8.75. Whereas it's 8.75, but since we're talking about money, it's $8.75. All right, let's go on to the next one. I think this is the last one that we're going to do as an example. So it says, Mr. Cruz bought a pair of sunglasses regularly priced at $55 at Macy's. They are discounted at 25%. How much did he save? All right, so we're going to highlight, oh shoot. Okay. All right, we're going to highlight $55. We're going to highlight 25%, and it's asking us how much did he save? So think to yourself, is this a one-step or is it a two-step? Is it asking us just for the discounted amount, or is it asking us how much did I pay total? It's asking us only for the discount. So this is really a one-step problem. So the first thing is I got to turn 25% into a decimal. So 25% is actually going to turn into 0.25. And then what I'm going to do is in my calculator, I'm going to multiply those two. So 55 times 0.25. And when I put that in my calculator over here, come on, jump, turn on. So 55 times 0.25, I end up with 1375. So I ended up with 1375. Ooh, I messed that up. 1375. And this is how much I saved, right? Because that's the amount of the discount. So I'm technically done. Because since we're talking about money, it's really $13.75. All right, we're going to stop it right here. You guys know exactly what you guys are going to be working on next. If you don't, go ahead and go to Google Classroom and check because I wrote the instructions up there. If you guys want more examples, I'm going to continue going over some more of the rest of the examples. But if you feel like you've got an understanding and you understand this pretty well, you got a grasp on it, go ahead and jump into the assignments. All right. But if you need help, there's another video explaining some more. Peace out.